Hello, my loyal listeners. Welcome to From the Jowls of Justice with Droopy McGobbler. As I said, and as I always say, I know that I am cursed with, at the moment, taut and supple facial skin. Okay. But recognize, please understand that my inner self has big, drooping, hanging jowls, the puffy kind, and like Nixon, and a quite respectable turkey gobbler, which is a giant roll of fat under the neck. So please, listen to me as if I possessed said jowls in real life. At any rate, yeah, sorry I was late. I overslept. I have a terrible habit of laying down for a 15-minute nap that lasts for 2 hours. But, I'm going to try not to do that anymore. At least not right before my radio show. Then I'm all tired, and I do things like point the camera in the wrong direction. Bugger. Okay, cool. That should work. At any rate, yeah, you know, don't emulate a radio personality and fall asleep on watch like that. Also, as I said before, I must caution people not to necessarily repeat some of these things. And for instance, if you're subpoenaed by Congress or Parliament, for my international listeners, then you ought to show up, okay, and present the documents and records for which the congressional subpoena was issued. You should never move traffic barricades, right, from construction sites, nor should you use the temporary no parking signs for to reserve parking spaces for yourself. If you burn leaves, know the law in your county and do not burn leaves without a permit or in an unapproved area. And those sorts of things. I don't advocate repeating, kind of like MythBusters. Yeah, you shouldn't do anything illegal, and it's already been done. It's not cool anymore. Now it's something you heard on the radio, right? That's about as cool as I said, emulating something on television, except that my stuff is way, way funnier than the idiots on. Is that? Oh, okay, good. I thought that was somehow music overlaid. At any rate, let's see. What else? Oh, yeah. This was a big one. You know, this is, what I say here, issues from the jowls of justice of Droopy McGobbler, right? Which is a radio character. So some of the stuff I say is, you know, absolutely true, at least some of them, and some of it's based on real events, to the point of being as based on real events as some Michael Bay movie. Although I will say that if there was a movie called Boom Explosions by Michael Bay, I would absolutely go see it. I'd purchase the reserved tickets at that one theater. The big comfy ones. I don't know. But at any rate, they I'll admit it, they've mentioned taking notes, perhaps even beforehand. So I have a little thing here. Right, radio notes. Oh yeah, I think at some point, I don't remember if I touched on it last week, but I wanted to talk about the dog we used to have, my family, Horace, and this is real. Not one of the based on true events or completely made up. And don't bother trying to guess which or which. At any rate, though, Horace was awesome. He was, a Saint Bernard, right? Very, very large dog, and I wasn't much of a dog person when I was a kid, but he was awesome, right? I didn't like slobber and stuff, but by that, or poop, because you've got to imagine, okay, unless you own a giant dog like that, right, just imagine the size of the giant poop. I mean, you had to carry. There was no there was no picking this up with paper towels and putting it on anything, right? You had to be prepared to scoop that poop, and generally you had to have a slobber towel around because I gotta say, the Mastiff family, the Molosser dogs, actually, which is to say the St. Bernard, the Great Pyrenees, the white one, the Newfoundland, the black one, the Bull Mastiff with the short nose, obviously the St. Bernard, the, the entire Mastiff family. At any rate, though, yeah, slobber. They all have physical jowls when they're born. If they're Horace was named Horace, not only because I was insisting. No, it was originally for my brother that they got him. I think. At any rate, though, so he's got these big drooping jowls. He, we, I felt that he should be named something like Horace, something that would go with, probably a portly guy in a suit, you know, doing something important. I don't know, but very respectable and very worthy of Jowls. So he was just awesome. It was awesome. It always even amazed me, right? Even when I didn't want to touch dog, right? It always amazed me the power that Horace had. I mean, he was just unless you've got one, right? Or have spent a lot of time with one. I mean, he was he pulled a bolt out of a tree, chasing after something. He was on a run, okay, with a pulley in the backyard between the house and a tree. All right, so he would have a lot of space. And then, he busted loose several different ways. He pulled down the pulley once. He snapped, probably at least 3/16 of an inch thick big leather collar on his 38-inch or 30-inch neck. He a couple times the whatchamacallit, broke the clip, the snap link at the end of a leash or whatever. And, then the leash and the collar were about, were 4 layers of the thick, ballistic nylon stuff, right? The leather was pretty much out. And you know, and it's not that, he was insisting on escaping, but sometimes he just, you know, so I don't know, a cat or some darn thing. And it drove him nuts. There was a pot-bellied pig up at, another place my family once lived that, when we would walk, there was one in the neighborhood, frequent, always, obviously, in the yard of this house. And, you know, I was walking him a lot because my brother's friend, right, my brother and his friend, a few years younger, I was 16, I think they were 13, something like that, right? And they were walking him, and the dog took, he was after some darn thing and actually dragged the guy so his feet left forward enough so his feet left ruts, big ruts. So I don't know if he got what he got loose or not. I don't remember, but at that point, I was walking him a lot, and it's that pig's existence, which makes sense, considering he's a big dog, and a dog is now recognized as a subspecies of wolf, not a separate species within the genus. So that's how you can get wolf dog hybrids. And what would be awesome, okay, is a wolf dingo hybrid. Half wolf, half Australian dingo dog. I mean, that would be just the most bad, but dogs, you could have. The Australian those dingoes can open doors. They're wild. They're wild dogs, and but they're, again, they've adapted a little bit, right? And they'll do some pretty cool stuff, right? So half wolf and half dingo, right? The dingo, of course, also is very smart. That would just be awesome. You know, what are you, oh, what kind of dog is that you're walking? A don't go near it dog. But, I mean, speaking of a guard dog, that would be a guard dog and a half. Forget a German Shepherd or a Doberman, right? No, that, you know, I'll sick my wolf dingo dog on you. I mean, that's pretty awesome. But, really big ones, of course, too. But, that reminds me of how I think, right? This is what I think. I don't know. If any dog breeders are listening to this, then please call in. Oh, yeah! I'll be butched. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. Hey, call in the show at 414-935-2951. Yeah, then I'll figure out how to use the thing. But yeah, totally. Everybody who's listening, call in. 414-935-2951. I'll figure out an acronym for that. Oh, wait, I wasn't speaking into the mic. 414-935-2951. So what would be awesome is, all right, think about this. Dobermans have been bred down to miniature Dobermans, and they're still Dobermans. I mean, I'm not a dog expert, right, but I can generally, guess the breed of something, and miniature, everybody knows a miniature Dobermans. So, better chair. If I'll donate it here. At any rate, so everybody's, knows of the miniature Dobermans, and they're still Dobermans. Like, it would be awesome to have a pack of those. Release the hounds. Although with me it would be alligators, right? Not crocodiles. You probably couldn't train those to be, reasonable, but and not get out of hand. They're much meaner than alligators. I gotta say it. I'm pro alligator, right? And things like Dino Croc versus Super Gator, right? That kind of stuff. But I gotta say that in real life, right, the croc, is much meaner and nastier. But I think that means you can train a gator. But that's not what I wanted to ask the dog breeders. Right? If you can breed a dog, and there's miniature everything. I once saw a standard poodle, I guess, or regular poodle, whatever you call it. Oh yeah, that's much better. Derp. I had the back part of my chair flipped backwards. At any rate, though, all right, the first time I saw a regular poodle, right, whatever you call it, all right, I didn't recognize what it was. I only saw little poodles. If that was the original, that's a decent sized, compared to the small poodles that that I always think of. But all right, cool. But at any rate, right? Why not breed a dog up? They've done it with pit bull. Now that I think about it, that's not as, man, I was going to say that's hipster, right? That breeding breeds down is, is so yesterday or last month or whatever, and now you should breed them up. But that's actually not new. They've done that with pit bulls, right? Sometimes for shameful things. But the fact is that I am not a breedist, right? And that is, I'm not making that word up, although I do like to make words up. But I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be a breedist and say pit bulls are nasty, dangerous dogs, right? Or German shepherds will attack anything, right? Or anything like that. Well, maybe a little bit. I don't like chihuahuas, just in general. Bad experiences with them. And I don't know if you're allowed to. Well, I'll just mention poop. I don't like them because they poop a lot. That can be beeped later in the archives if it has to be. I mean, poop, I don't know. It was my nephew's first word thanks to me. It's great. At any rate, though, yeah, alligators are awesome, and so is making up words because, for instance, I like to make up words, because you've heard me before. I love words. I like to make up words and have people, and actually see if I can get them to catch on, right? At least among a small group of people. And I've been all right, with this one, with alligating. Okay, and here's what the verb to alligate means. Okay. It means to, because the alligator, right, takes this, does this here that I'm about to do, like this, right? And for those who are only listening to the sound, okay, I have my hands palm down, pinky to pinky, okay, and my index fingers just touching the side of my nose, right, at a height such that about half the nose, about halfway down the nose, by slope or by vertical. I don't know. I haven't measured. I mean, it's a made-up word. Come on, right? But anyway, to alligate is to for instance, get into that position, right? You get in that position, and then you flick your eyes back and forth from upper, only the upper corners, because you're underwater, right? You're underwater in the swamp, right? So what do? You hide, okay, because you're, well, let me back up and say that the etymology, therefore, assigned to alligator, right? Just like sailor, but not like Taylor or Grocer or any of that stuff. An alligator alligates, right? To alligate is to do what, an alligator does. And the word originally started out, okay, as a verb, meaning to, oh, sorry, pinky finger. A verb meaning to, preferably submerged in water, but if no water was available, right, crouch down behind an object, and in that position with the object about halfway down your nose, and then flick your eyes from upper left to upper right corner a few times, right, just like an alligator does. So originally it was like, because this was when like owling and stuff, when there was first planking, which wasn't that cool, but owling was great. I saw somebody who was doing owling, and I figured he was up to something no good. He was sneaking around. I guess he was trying to get into somewhere he shouldn't to owl. But yeah, no, I was suspicious as heck. I knew there was something going on, right? And yeah, he was doing some surreptitiously. He was owling, but that's harmless. So alligating, right, became getting behind something like that. So only, so only a little bit of your nose and your eyes are visible, right? My nephew, who was just awesome, just awesome. Big chubby cheeks, always did. Not so much as before, as obviously when he was younger, but pretty big. So, you know, anything that Uncle Droopy says is, of course, awesome, right? And I'm proud to say I'm his favorite uncle, right? And I did it a few times, and I said, I told him, I said, hey, little Joe, it's really cool, alligating, right? And I showed him. Okay, and apparently a little while later, he was dining with, man, who's texting me? I'm on the radio. You know what? Hold on a second. No, I'm not going to put him on the radio. I'm not going to do it. All right. At any rate, though, the point is that, at a later date, he was at dinner with, or lunch with some of the family, and he took his napkin, right, and pulled it up, so in a manner just to, or did he actually crouch? Well, whatever. It's a radio show. I can make some stuff up. It's called the cannoli effect. There are, and this might make sense. At any rate, every year when I was real small, my grandmother had, some sort of awesome birthday cake made. And I don't remember if I was 9, 10, or 11, right? But one year, okay, there was a place called Caruso's in Utica, New York, and that has the best stuff like cannoli and sfogliatelle and all that kind of stuff. All right, just the best that I've ever had anywhere. Nothing ever compares to Caruso's cannoli. Loved them. All right. One time, although I guess I was sort of grown up by then, I actually devoured a half dozen cannolis one after another. All right. But, hey, that's another thing that you shouldn't do. At any rate, I definitely did that, and I don't even think I felt sick. For those of you who can see me, all right, I'm not fat, not terribly fat. If I were, it could be worse, but because I'd probably have a gobbler, right, that I could shake at, against things or even for. See, I can do, without physical ones, I can still do the Jowls effect, you know, It's not that there's not enough jobs. It's that there's too many people. We gotta get rid of some. Right. And that was Nixon. Okay. And obviously he had mighty, formidable jowls. The same ones that didn't get him elected against Kennedy, I think contributed greatly to his election after the guy who was before him. At any rate, he was just awesome. And those jowls, I believe really made a huge difference. With the way politics is today, okay, I've been watching the debates. That's not true. I've looked at bits of the debate. And I've basically said, you know what? Right? I have a position on all these issues, but I know what's going on. Right? These people are grandstanding, okay, and making promises that not only that they can't keep, but that nobody expects them to actually keep. That's the problem. It's expected that nothing will work, okay, and so that the wheels of change move slowly, and so nobody's accountable for it. But at any rate, right, I decided that for all I care, okay, I will choose the candidate with the biggest jowls. In the Republican primary, okay, I was thinking, I decided to actually lean toward Gingrich because I didn't know, I didn't know, I had always thought of him as, kind of a, kind of a jerk. But then I was watching this debate and I realized that he had, the most respectable jowls of any candidate. And I said, you know what? I might as well base my vote on jowls. And I was pulling for him. Now, all right, Romney doesn't have him, right? He's got him metaphorically. Okay, he's got him inside. But inner jowls, can, be explained to earn some respect on, for instance, a radio show. But they will not get you elected. No, absolutely not. All right. So, at any rate, though, Romney doesn't have them. Okay, Obama also being, tall and thin and very young for the office, doesn't really have them. Although, as his hair got gray very quickly last year or whenever the hell it was, whenever the heck it was, you know what? Hey, give me a call, by the way, at 414-935-2951, and I'll figure out how to put you on, as long as you can watch your language. Okay, I live with a sailor, trucker, and a, mechanic, right, who is a self-proclaimed, not even admitted, a self-proclaimed redneck, embraces it. Okay, and I managed to come on this and not, and I'm a former frat boy, right, I'll admit it, right, as well as a former athlete, right, which doesn't really help one's, restraint of language. But if, at any rate, if I can avoid it, right, then so can you. And pending that condition, under which you will face jowls of judgment, which I don't care if that is Nixon or Rich Little as Nixon that I'm imitating, or Anthony Hopkins as Nixon, or Futurama Nixon. I don't care. It's my Nixon. At any rate, so yeah, call on in and I'll figure out how to get you on. Otherwise, I might just call you from this as soon as I figured out how to do that, right? And random people, including hopefully some of you, will pick up their phone to be greeted with, "Hey, you're on the radio. Say something." Right? Maybe I'll even wake some. No, that's mean. No, I'd feel bad about waking somebody up. Wait a second. My show's on at 5 o'clock, right? Who would I be Well, okay, I slept until 5:10. So whatever. At any rate, you might be greeted with a surprise appearance on this radio show. And if you're not listening, right, for those who are not listening right now, your risk is higher. Maybe I'll call you at random times and oh no, I gotta find out the laws about that. There's a lot of laws I gotta find out about, but I'll try to stay away from things like the H word. So, alligating is when was originally when you do that, right? Get behind something with most of your face covered, especially when somebody isn't looking, and then they turn around and look, and you're alligating, right? And you know, mom said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm crocodiling," which is pretty. They told me about that. I wasn't there for it, but it was pretty awesome. That actually became like funny. He had been carrying on with it too. I think that's just great. It's fun. So then it became right a metaphor verb, right? Not always literal in the sense of the physical assumption of that position, but mentally, doing that, or descriptively, right, of an action, a plan, whatever, descriptively alligating. Okay, which means to do something cautiously or sneakily and surreptitiously, right? Especially watching, watching stuff. Whether it's, being, well, I don't know. I'm not going to get into the morals of when you should sneak around. I'm going to say, yeah, you should alligate. And I've actually gotten other people to start saying it, right? I don't know about other than talking to me, but quite possibly. It's quite possible. Another funny word, although it's a real one, is burgle. Okay, and its companions, burglary and burglarize. You should not burgle things, but you can kind of say it in a jowl voice. Burglary. So, yeah, but don't burgle. At any rate, and don't swear if you call in. So what they should do is breed dogs up. Okay, big ones like take the largest individuals of the Mastiff family, right? The 220 pounders, the 210 pounders, the 200, any bigger than that, all the record dogs, right? Get them to breed. Get the giant ones of both sexes, and for all of these different dogs, and take them from, instead of taking them from 200 pounds down to 100. Who wants a miniature Saint Bernard? I mean, they're cute and they're a 40-pound puppy, but at any rate, breed them up to being 500-pound dogs. Well, 400-pound dogs with the largest individuals approaching 5. Because think about that. They're big enough. He could reach his head up on a bar height, full bar height counter. He could reach his head off and up on top of it and grab a sandwich with his foot-long tongue. But at any rate, though, breed them to 400 pounds. And then you probably have to do it in 2 cycles, right, until that individual's population sort of gets stable. But then, right, you've got your 500-pound dogs the size of a black bear. And that's about what it would be, the size of a decent-sized, right, North American black bear. And a bear would be awesome to keep as a pet, right? But that, even compared to a monster dog, that would take too much work. But yeah, right, then take your 400 and 500-pound dogs. Right, I don't know how long this kind of breeding takes to do, but then get them up to 800-pound dogs. 800-pound dogs, 5 feet high at the shoulder, right? 6.5 feet to the head, right? I don't even know just what you'd expect an 800-pound dog to look like. Now, that would be a lot awesomer. You know, oh yeah, I just got a new dog. You know, what kind? Oh, miniature pinscher. All right. You know, oh, you know, I heard you got one too. What kind? You know, what breed did you get? We were thinking of a couple. Double monster Saint Bernard, double monster Newfoundland, then it would be black, or even, no, double monster Great Pyrenees. Oh, yeah, double giant Great Pyrenees. And that would be, oh, yeah, big white one. Darn near look like a polar bear. All right, although, if you tuned into my last show, you have heard of the Growler bear, which is the world's biggest bear crossed with the meanest. And that's just awesome, too. But no, they'd be nice tempered dogs, the giants. Right? They'd be nice tempered, decent dogs, just like their ancestors. You know, great dogs, affectionate, not aggressive, you know, which is good because when you're brushing the inch-long teeth of something whose mouth is as big as your head, it's good to know that he's family and, you know, respectable, but, and you're safe. But at any rate, though, yeah, that would just be that would just be awesome. Then, right, all the families with dogs like that, 180-pound dogs, 200, whatever, right? At some point, riding the dog will become an issue. One of the kids wants to ride the dog, right? And of course, that's no good for them. Or neighborhood kids will, in the case of a Saint Bernard, again, always be asking to ride Beethoven, which was awesome. I thought that was cute as heck, but I couldn't let him ride the dog. Right? But an 800-pound dog, oh, you could ride. Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd have to live in, even a regular giant dog needs pretty much a whole room. Right? You're looking at an 8-foot dog bed, something like that. Right? So this dog would need a garage, a whole garage, probably. But that would be fine because if you can get, if you buy an 800-pound dog, then you can definitely afford it. I mean, heck yeah, those would probably go for what? $15,000 a puppy, right? And, but, man, that would be awesome. That would just be awesome. I still do want pet alligators, though. And they're great. Not just because of my fascination, with alligating and that kind of stuff. Or maybe, well, yeah, I mean, I now use it as, a proper word. You know, to the people who are texting me, just, Haru. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm doing this by text because otherwise I'd be using non-radio words. But at any rate, so, let's see. Yeah, enormous dogs would be awesome, right? Love to alligate. I mean, alligating just rules, right? And have an alligator also bred up to a 40-foot alligator. I'm talking about ones that are a 5-foot hatchling, you know, big enough to get picked up by the Gator Patrol in Florida. But yeah, then have a 40-foot pet gator. And for those who need to think about it, that's the size of a bus and probably twice as wide. And probably, I don't know what, some biologist, somebody call in 414-935-2951. And if you're a biologist, could you tell me if the head is, 8 feet or 10 feet? Or, I mean, 10 sounds big, maybe only 6. Right? American alligator, giant American alligator it would be. There have been about 20-foot individuals, right, captured or shot, but never anything, never anything more than 25 feet, certainly not 30, right? Prehistoric, 40 feet long crocodilian, you're looking at prehistoric. Then you're looking at like Deinosuchus and stuff, right? Now the prehistoric, alligator was way, way cooler and nastier than the crocodile, the Sarcosuchus imperator. Right, just similar size, but had a snout shaped more like a gavial's. Right, obviously ate giant plesiosaurs and Loch Ness monsters, sort of stuff, but not not quite as not quite as awesome. Just awesome, by which I mean inspiring of awe. The alligator, the Deinosuchus, for those who are keeping track. But anyway, though, right? What was I saying? Alligator, alligator. I don't know. Let's see. What else can I pick? See, I don't actually have notes. Um, let's see. How about? See, this is what I was expecting somebody to call in. Okay. Wow, this is the first time. See, this is what happens when I try to take notes. Right. It worked better the first time with. It worked way better the first time with. No notes whatsoever. Right. Just coming on here and talking because that's what this is supposed to be. Okay. This is a stream of consciousness show. This is an opportunity to listen in on somebody's mind, on to listen into what's going on in my head, making all these crazy connections in real time. And that is a chance that you don't generally get to get. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than I'm saying, but pretty much topically, it kind of flows. One follows from the other. And somebody should stop by here too. It's at River West Film and Video. So, just stop by and, come on the show. You don't even have, if it's Wednesday between 5 and 6, right? You don't even have to tell me you're coming. Just come on, and if I feel like putting you on the show, I will. You know? Otherwise, all right, if you're thinking of not going on the show, then there is a chance that I will accost you on the street, all right, and pull you inside and stick a mic in your face and demand that you say something. All right. So, oh yeah, be prepared for that. That's fine because there's a good coffee shop next door. I can't really promote stuff, but I can at least say that you'll find decent coffee here. All right. Oh, sorry. There's just a really funny sign. Right. I was thinking there's a guy who makes decisions, right, for a pretty big company. And since the concealed weapons law passed in Wisconsin, okay, the company had to come up with, a firearm policy for their warehouses, factories, and offices, right? So they were using policies from other states, southern states, for instance, as a starting point. Okay, and the upshot is, many buildings were marked no firearms, right? And so they were the standard looking silhouette, right, pictures, and the silhouette was, I believe some kind of Smith and Wesson 45 or something like that, maybe a 1911 Colt style deal. But at any rate, the guy's looking at it and said, "No, that sucks. I don't want that. Put a make the silhouette a Colt Peacemaker single action army, right? Oh yeah, I mean that would be awesome. That'd be a terrible conceal weapon. I mean, a big, a big 45 long Colt revolver. Heck no, you might as well have just open carried it the way you used to be able. Well, although I still think you can, and that's a topic that I never discussed on this show, was weapons. Okay, in the sense of this, I've been to, for instance, England, and the problem is that because there's no handguns over there, period. I mean, except for certain police squads, not even all policemen. I'm sure they have tasers and pepper spray and stuff now, but at any rate, though, Unfortunately, they have a bad habit of, stabbing people. There's actually a fair amount of knife crime, right? Which is disappointing because that means that it's people, right? It's actually people that are the problem. But at any rate, right, it would be nice if nobody needed them, right? And then, you were allowed to carry, for instance, concealed or unconcealed, as many hand weapons as you want. Whether it be a battle axe, right, a brace of throwing stars, obviously katanas and swords, right? A spear might be too bulky to tote around. And it might knock into like merchandise in stores, so they might have to be no spears. Staffs are cool though. Tri-section staffs, nunchucks, sai, right? All sorts of awesome stuff like that. Right? Carry as much of it as you want. Throwing daggers, whatever. So then instead of about being who's more angry, right, and quicker on the trigger, then it's about then a fight is about who knows how to fight, right? And I would definitely, I'm telling you right up, I would definitely wear a pair, okay, obviously the Daisho set, the katana and wakizashi, right, of, good folded, forged and folded Japanese swords, right? And that's awesome. Even now, all right? And again, hopefully nobody ever gets into bad situations. It would be good if this thing didn't happen, right? But, you know, even if I had a gun, okay, if I saw somebody with a sword, I might think twice because that implies one of two things. Either this guy is actually crazy, you know, and and is that unpredictable, all right, that he thinks this is a great idea, or he is just that good with that sword that's what he, has around. And that would, either one of those thoughts, would make me, even as a bad guy, would make me pause and kind of avoid a confrontation, you know. Try to avoid them anyway. I mean, confrontation's way too much hard work. That's not any fun. Oh, man. Okay. Now I think I'm doing stuff. Now I think I'm getting to it here. Well, at any rate, tune in next week, all right, to hear what issues forth from the Jowls of Justice. I can't do this with the headphones on. I'm going to try it again. It's terrible. From the Jowls of Justice. And until then, remember, I'm the one who put the Tom and tomfoolery and the alligators in the sewers. I also staged the moon landing on Mars. Peace out, yos.